Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Difference Makers here on BEK TV Plus. I'm your host, Jay Fettig, and as we continue our journey telling the story of the legends and the giants that have made our game what it is, we're going to invite with us tonight the great and wonderful and honorable Mr. Bob Learn Jr. Welcome to the show, Bob.
Well, Jay, thanks for having me.
Yes, and we have to say, although it's a reasonable hour where we're at here in sunny tropical Bismarck, North Dakota, it's wee hours of the morning where you're at. You want to share with us where you are at and why you're there?
Well, I'm in Dubai, UAE, and I am their national coach for the men's, women's, and youth teams here. So here it is 12:30 at night. So yeah, half world away.
Yeah, well, we appreciate your dedication and willingness to stay up late with us here. So for those of us, that may not know the whole story, we're going to get into many things about your career, but of course, a couple of things that really stand out is that magical day that you had in your hometown, Erie, Pennsylvania. We'll get to that later in the show, but also your career record. I think it still stands, doesn't it? The 4-game scoring record. Don't you still have that?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay, so
still holding up. And I kind of feel like it will for a while.
well, it's gonna, boy, you almost have to throw sheer perfection to beat it. So tell me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was 280, 279, 290, and a 300. Is that correct?
Close.
Oh, okay. What was
300
that?
is 300 to start,
Yep.
270, 280, 279.
Oh, I thought there was a 290 in there. Okay, I had it wrong. Yeah. So two of your of the people that you bowled against in that day, and I don't want to jump ahead to what we're going to talk about later, but two of those guys have been on the show. So we've had Johnny Petraglia on, and we've had Parker Bone. Parker was on last week, and both of us, I mean, both of those guys, rather, we talked about that day as well, and also about the mulligan. You know, can't go without talking about that the unfortunate situation. And boy, I feel so bad for that lady, But anyway, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. So we'll come back to all those things.
All right.
I do know that you are an early, I guess you were early to the sport. At 8 years old, you really got into league. So why don't you walk us back to the early times, how it all got started and your passion for it?
Well, you couldn't start where I grew up. You couldn't start bowling until you were 8. The lightest ball at that time was 8 pounds, and the owner wouldn't even let you bowl until you're old enough to handle 8 pounds. So 8 it was, and I couldn't wait. My parents bowled on Friday nights, and I would go watch them. And my dad took me a few times bowling, and I mean, it's something I just fell in love with. And when I started league, I was crazy about it. Monday morning, and I'd be at school thinking about next Saturday get my 3 games in, and I'd drag my mom over to the bowling center, which was very close to our home. Before the lights were on in the place, I'd have her there so I could find the good pair of shoes and the right bowling ball, so I could have a good opportunity that day to bowl the high scores that I was dreaming of. So it's kind of how it all started. I was really crazy about the sport right from the get-go, and never dreamt it would take me as far as it has.
Well, and then also from what I remember seeing and reading, and is that come Monday, like you said, you were anxious to get back, but you were like, I'm almost becoming a bad student because it's all I can think about.
Yeah, my parents would get told that I was a daydreamer. Yeah, I'd sit there and I just kind of wasn't paying attention because I was truly just running through it in my head. And I guess it's actually helped. I was visualizing good bowling, and that's a great tool for becoming better. So I just learned it at an early age.
Well, bowling has become your life. You know, it's everything. It's everything you do, and obviously it's treated you well, and I know you're giving back to the sport as well. So, you know, I went through and tried to pull up as much information as I could in a reasonable amount of time, which, by the way, there's no way we can tell your career and your story in one 30-minute episode, nor do we even really intend to. You know, so our plan, again, with your willingness, is to come back multiple times and really shape the story. So we're going to pull up, which we just did, and your career stats, Mr. 300. So you had the 10th ever televised 300 game, record scoring, as I mentioned, 2-time Coach of the Year, 2023 USBC Men's Coach of the Year. I mean, it just goes, the list goes on and on and on. Of all the things really that you have accomplished in your career, and there are some more of your wins, like we said, Mr. 300. I mean, it's just, it's a never-ending thing. I could put up 20 different slides and really not accomplish it all. Of all the things, Bob, that you have done, what are some things that you're most proud of?
Well, winning the U.S. Open, which is being contested right now as we speak. Yeah, that was the ultimate, still is the ultimate title. It puts you in a different category when you can win a major like that on such tough conditions, and that's just a grueling event. And I had done well in a few, but when I won, that to me stands out.
Yeah, the game is surely different, and you know it's a certainly, you know, you still have to score and you have to shape the ball, but it's definitely become a power game, and you really were ahead of the curve on that. I mean, you had a unique style, you had a lot of revs. You know, here's your one-handed style at approach. I guess, you know, when we come back from break here, I'd like to find out how that really all got started, but you have power, you know, in the legs, and you can just see the delivery in the hand you get in it. Really, again, you were ahead of the curve as far as having a power game. So I want to pick your brain on that. But before I do that, unfortunately, we got to hear from our sponsors. So we're going to take a quick break, Bob. When we come back, we're going to hear more from Bob and again, learn more of his game. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
At Gateway Building Systems, we provide unmatched service to all of our customers. Butler Builder understands this. We combine creative design capabilities with superior workmanship to deliver optimal building solutions. Our team provides insight that takes you from the ground up to build your future. Gateway Building Systems and Butler Buildings are designed for strength, durability, and longevity. We are here to build your project and maintain it for the next generation.
Experience the homegrown goodness of Cass Clay Country, where life is made sweeter and healthier. For over 85 years, we've been crafting delicious dairy products from local farms for local families. Our recipes only use the freshest ingredients, from milk and butter to ice cream, sour cream, and cottage cheese. You can rely on us for superior quality and taste that your parents and grandparents will even recognize. It's a difference you can taste. Cass Clay, homegrown, pure goodness.
Welcome back, everyone, to more Difference Makers here on BEK TV Plus. I am continued to be joined by the great Bob Learn. And during break, Bob and I were talking about his style and how he really brought the power game when in a time when being a stroker, again, was really the thing. So I guess, Bob, walk us through this again, like we were talking at break.
Well, starting off, you can see my style is a little different than most, and you can tell that I go pretty quick with my feet. And this was something that people that were around the bowling center would always be talking me out of. They're telling me you're not supposed to go that fast to the line, you're rushing the line. And the reality is holding the ball down like that makes you go faster. The swing is already there. You don't have to wait on the ball. But that, and then they said, as much as you put on the ball, you won't last 5 years. Your wrists won't hold up. And here I am almost 63 and still getting quite a bit on it and still running to the line. So I guess I proved them wrong.
Well, your career stats obviously speak for themselves as well. So take us back as far as some mentors and coaches, and like you just said that some tried to talk your style out of. Who at some point did anybody just say, Bob, don't broke what's working, or don't break or don't fix what's not broken?
Yeah, actually, I grew up in a really great center. They were, just great operators, and they had coaching. They themselves coached Saturdays. And yeah, they really didn't know how to help me, but they were there every week to support. At first, I did hold the ball up, so I didn't run as much to the line, but I still, I did try to put a lot on the ball. And in any event, I was never really getting the kind of help that I needed to be ready for the tour. And I went out on tour, very fortunate. I bowled a TV show called Beat the Champ out of Buffalo, New York. And Tommy Baker had been on that show just 2 or 3 years prior and had someone want to put him out on tour, and he was having great success at the time. And so I went on a little run. This is 1980. It's before I bowled men's league. I was still essentially a junior bowler because I came out of junior league and I qualified for this show. And I shot 299, 800 on a TV show. It broke all the records there. And I had a guy reach out to me when that aired and want to put me out on tour right away. And I was not ready. I needed a lot more time, but the offer was there, and I didn't want to miss the opportunity. So I went out and tried for my first stint on tour. And I learned a lot during that period of time because I got to watch the greatest players. And the one player that I really did try to emulate was Marshall Holman. If you take my left hand and put it over the ball and then look at my style, it wasn't that much different than Marshall Holman. It's just I did it with one arm.
Now that you say that, yeah, I mean, Marshall rushed the line. He had a long slide. Yeah, I mean, I guess now that you say that, I can really picture it. Yeah. So you spoke about your mom taking you to league. Did you have brothers, sisters at all? And if so, did they bowl? Are they interested in bowling?
I had two younger sisters, and my sister was 2 years younger than I. She was actually a really good bowler until she had some health issues earlier in life and had to go get away from bowling. But she was actually a pretty good player. And my youngest sister, she bowled. She didn't take it as serious as I did, or my sister that was just a couple years younger than me. So yeah, we all bowled. Again, we lived next to the bowling center. My parents ended up running there was actually a restaurant, not a kitchen like a snack bar. It was a restaurant. My parents took that over and managed that, and so that got us to the bowling center even more often. And each day that, as it turned out, if I worked there and I worked as many days as I could, I'd get 2 free games. So I worked there as many days as I could, up to 6 days a week in my youth. And then in the summer, when the bowling center in our area, probably much like yourself in the area you're in, nobody wanted to be in the bowling center. So there was little business in the summer. A lot of centers would close for the summer. And during that time, I worked on a dairy farm. We had 116 milkers, and be up at 4:30 in the morning milking cows, baling hay during the day, and back milking again in the afternoon. So I got a lot of hard work in there, and that actually made me a lot stronger and made me better at doing what I do. And it also made me a little extra money so I could afford to bowl more.
Wow, that is, I grew up myself in a town of 500 people, and my folks' best friends had a dairy farm, and we went out and helped all the time. My folks grew up on a farm south of our little town. My first grade, and this isn't about me, but my first grade class had 6 kids, so I always have to make sure to get that out there. But
oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah, we knew each other.
I'm small town, but I'm not that small town.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we did have a stop sign though. We had one. So
Not
I
a
know.
four-way, just one.
That's right. We just had one. No. So, so you obviously, it takes the old village to raise a child, and to make you where you're at, and your career what it was, takes a lot of support around you. I know family has really been there for you. Why don't you take this opportunity and kind of describe what it's like to be on the road and who really were there for you the whole time?
Well, I certainly had support from my parents and my siblings, as well as the people at the bowling center. They opened up, the lanes for me whenever I needed to practice. So that was a blessing. And I think nobody can get there without that opportunity. It really, again, I came out when I was too young, and I had a 3-year deal to go out with a sponsor. And by the year 3, I made my first TV show. So it took me a little while to figure it out, but I did. And just after that, I met my future wife. And that's when things really got better for me, because even though I had just a little success at the end of that, she truly made me believe that she didn't understand why I didn't do better. And when she'd see me bowl, she's like, you're, better than you think you are. And she's been that support throughout my life. So I couldn't ask for a better support system at home. And she'd be the one saying, you have to practice this morning, right? You have to go practice. I'm like, yeah. She'd make sure she had me on a schedule that, that I wanted to be home with my kids doing stuff. And she's like, well, you got to go practice first, right? So.
That's awesome. Next to every great man is a great woman, right? As they say. So, yeah, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back again, we're going to talk about Bob's magical day in Erie, Pennsylvania, where he set the tour scoring record for a 4-game set, was the 10th televised 300. So we're going to really dig into that. So stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back after these messages.
Relationships founded on trust. That's how Lux Wealth Advisors was established, and it continues to be paramount in everything we do. Our professionals are here to make building wealth simple and straightforward for anyone. Whether you're just starting out, nearing retirement, or you're someplace in between, we'll take the time to accurately assess your current financial state, then design a tailored plan to help you achieve your long-term goals. Lux Wealth Advisors, the right answers for financial independence.
Mandan Sporting Goods' new location means new inventory and even greater commitment to supporting your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're wanting personal defense weapons, collectibles, or simply the area's largest selection of ammo, reloading supplies, and new line of fishing equipment, the team at Mandan Sporting Goods will help you find what you need. 206 4th Avenue Northwest.
Welcome back, everyone, to the last segment of this evening's show on BEK TV Plus here on the Difference Makers program. I am back with Mr. 300 himself, Bob Learn. Thanks again for showing up today, Bob. We really appreciate your time.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me again.
Absolutely. So we're going to jump to your hometown is Erie, Pennsylvania, correct?
It is.
Yeah, and what a day back in 96, am I correct again?
Yes. April 4th, 1996.
April 4th, 1996, you torched that place. And you set the now standing, which we mentioned in the beginning, 4-game PBA Tour record. And we've got a little bit of video here we want to play. So we're going to go ahead and roll that right now.
Okay.
$100,000 on this ball. 52nd 300 perfect game, but this by far the most valuable 100,000, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, that certainly had to feel good.
Unbelievable. Yeah. It's something that as a kid growing up in my hometown and hoping that someday I could get to perform on TV, I never dreamed I'd be able to do it in my hometown and then have a day like that.
That crowd was insane as far as how loud it was. I have to ask, okay, so the 10th ever televised PBA 300 game, what was that like in the throwing the 12th ball? What was going through your mind? Were you at all nervous?
I wasn't nervous. I mean, I had 4,500 people there cheering me on, and I was just really feeding off the energy at the Civic Center. I never felt nervous all day. It was just really, I was just living in the moment. I did know it was for $100,000. And, you know, just a year or two before that, Brian Goebel got 6 count. And I know it's a bad thing to say, but I'm like, don't be Brian. Get up there and make a great shot. Let's get this done. Ran through my head before I got up there. And I got up there and committed to the shot, as good as a shot I could possibly make. So to let go of it, I knew it was 10 in the pit. And then I got to go back and celebrate and with my family and some of the other guys that were on the show came up, and it was just a magical moment.
Yeah, and then you went on throughout the rest of the day to continue to bowl, well, a record-setting pace. So you walked away. That was a very lucrative day for you. We've got where you end up winning the event as well here. So here you're coming into this. Your ball reaction all day was crazy. So there's that's Stacy, right?
That was Stacy in the back. Then my mom and dad were on the sideline there.
Oh man, how awesome is
Who
that?
have both passed now, so seeing this is awesome because I get to see them.
Oh well,
That's my son Brandon, my wife, that's my dad, my mom.
Oh, well, I am so glad that we're able to relive this with you, and you know, as part of the Difference Makers program is to make sure that these stories live on. You know, but not just this story, but your whole career, you know, yours and all the players who have made, well, I hate to pardon, it's actually not even intended, but made such a difference. You know, it's just, so now you have moved on to make a difference and continue the legacy. Now you're into coaching. I mean, besides playing the PBA 50 yourself, but tell us about coaching and what got you interested in that.
Well, I mean, actually my first coaching gig was coaching my kids, baseball, softball. You know, they were in all kinds of sports, but when I had an opportunity to be a coach, assistant coach at that, because I traveled a bit, but I wanted to be involved and I enjoyed it, enjoying developing young players and making them better, get them excited and make them happy learning a new skill. So it started actually off the lanes. And then in the early mid 90s, I started doing a lot of clinics and enjoyed more and more doing that as much as I did bowling. So it turned out that once I left the tour, I ended up working in the coaching department at USBC, which was a great opportunity, and it led me to being able to work with Team USA. And it's been something that's now, of course, taken me halfway around the world.
Wow. And I know you've received some honors. We even have one, you receiving the ESPY, which by itself is, you know, to get an ESPY award.
That was a cool one. Yeah, that one I kind of pitched myself, you know, because it was an Olympic year. So you had all the Olympians from the Atlanta. So we had all these Olympians there. I got to see all of them. Of course, I enjoyed watching them during the Olympics. And then, of course, just hanging out in the green room with all these other professional athletes. And it was great. Great opportunity. My son came along with my wife. And it was just a amazing experience. And then there was a ESPY award. And then later that year, there's another show that probably no longer exists, but it was called the Victor Awards, and it was to help the City of Hope Hospital outside of LA. And so it was almost a carbon copy of the ESPY Awards, but West Coast.
Well, and you've received recognition not just as a bowler from the ESPYs and all the other things that you have won, but you've also received recognition as Coach of the Year, I think three or four different times?
Yeah, so when I was no longer at USBC, because they had made some cutbacks and shrunk the department, you know, I went to Turbo, which had Turbo Tech Training Center. So it was a company I had actually helped start in the late 80s. Dave Bernhardt, the owner there, sought me out because I was a weekend warrior at that time. And he knew I traveled a lot, and I helped set up a lot of his first accounts, or his, you know, in the East Coast. So I came back working for them directly, and they had a training center there, so they kept me coaching. And then, you know, and then after that, I continued to coach. I got into college bowling. And so I ended up at what eventually was University of Tennessee Southern. Was a smaller school that really wasn't a well-developed program, and it gave me an opportunity to prove to myself that I could make a difference. And was there for 6 seasons, and we were #1 in the country when they announced that they were going to discontinue our program.
Oh,
so
man!
As great of a experience as it was a rough
time to move on, right?
Season, knowing that we were no longer, but we had a great success, and we loved doing it. My wife, again, was part of that. She knew that when I got there was only 13 kids in the program, both men and women's team, and by year 2 we had 48.
That's awesome.
And I was short on coaches. I'm like, hon, I need help. I can't do this by myself. And she ended up being a really good coach, helping out a lot.
Well, we're going to wrap up tonight's show, and we're just going to ask Bob right now if his schedule allows, if you would allow, come back again. We want to continue to tell your story and talk more about today's game from a coach's perspective. So, Bob, thank you again for your time. We're going to let you go to bed out in Dubai. It's 12:30 in the morning there. So, again, folks, stay with us. We'll be right back after these messages.
Hi, I'm Katie with First Community Credit Union, and we're here with Angry Beaver Tree Services in Devil's Lake. What do you love about FCCU?
I would say it's an organization that's willing to go above and beyond to take care of the community needs. People are very friendly to work with, and they're always willing to go the extra mile to ensure that what I need is being taken care of. I love the friendly people, and like I said, I can walk in there and talk about getting a loan, and they're always willing to sit down and work with you right away. I mean, the process is fast, people are friendly, and it just doesn't get any better than that.
Are you looking for something special or one of a kind? At Bassett Motors, we can help you find exactly what you want.
Come on in and experience how small town hospitality and personal service can make car buying a pleasure.
We know interest rates are important to you. We have multiple lenders to negotiate your lowest payment.
Visit us on Highway 281 in Carrington, North Dakota, and online at BassettMotors.com. Bassett Motors, where our customers send their friends.
Welcome to the world of exceptional care and well-being. At Chubby Health, we believe in nurturing your body and mind and maximizing your potential. Trust our dedicated chiropractic team and the expertise of our skilled physical therapist. Embrace the future of rehab with stem wave therapy. Restore your body's natural energy flow with acupuncture and discover the power of nutrition with our expert doctors. And don't forget our specialized prenatal and pediatric care services. Put your health in good hands with Chubby Health.
At Gateway Building Systems, we provide unmatched service to all of our customers. Butler Builder understands this. We combine creative design capabilities with superior workmanship to deliver optimal building solutions. Our team provides insight that takes you from the ground up to build your future. Gateway Building Systems and Butler Buildings are designed for strength, durability, and longevity. We are here to build your project and maintain it for the next generation.
Well, thanks everyone for staying on this journey of telling the story of the difference makers. That's going to wrap up tonight's episode. I want to thank our guest, Mr. Bob Learn. I want to thank our sponsors, Farmers Union Insurance, Turbo Grips, Brunswick, Hammer, I Am Bowling, and the X League, and so many more, our partners here at BEK. Stay tuned with us for next week, as we're going to be bringing in the great Amleto Monticelli. So stay tuned. We'll be right back next week with more episodes.